glad that I got lost because I feel like I could have got hung up on that point forever. So point being was I was very naive and I was walking into a situation where it wasn't bad people that were being assholes to me. It was people having very natural and normal responses to for me being hired and being raised to such a prominent position, which was apprehension. Who is this guy? Why is the company that I am investing in, by working for them and by putting my time and creative energy into this, why are they hoisting this guy into a place of prominence, into a place of being sort of at the forefront of that company, or certainly one of the people? I was not at the forefront. I'm going to be careful with what I say here. Kovic and Danovic and Brian and Larson, or Stephen Larson, and there were a lot of other people there that had established followings because they were very good at what they did. And here I was being introduced as, in some cases, not just a peer, but someone who was to be even more displayed and placed than they were. And I think I can honestly say, without sounding vindictive, that some people didn't handle it very gracefully during my time there. And that was it. It was just some. Most everyone there was very welcoming and friendly and inviting, and given the situation, were more than courteous with my immediate and unannounced arrival at that company. Most everyone was awesome. There were a couple people that got kind of salty and didn't really like me too much, and Sark wasn't one of them. Sark immediately took on a role for me that was much like the role of an older brother. And this is coming from someone who did not have an older brother. I had 4 older sisters and a dad who worked graveyard shift, and I never met either of my grandpas. So as far as male role model figures in my life, I had my uncles, and I don't want to say that I wasn't close to them, but there was some, I'm not very close with that side of my family anymore, and really that was kind of it. Like sisters, my sisters would have boyfriends, and a couple of them I came to view as older brothers, and I can say that I'm grateful that they came into my life and mentored me in the way that they did, because no one else was doing it, and they didn't have to. And Sark was kind of like the same thing to me, and that's why he immediately struck me as someone that was trustworthy and someone that was worthy of my respect and admiration. And to this day, I carry that respect and admiration with me, because over the course of the next 2.5 or 3 years, he never stopped. He never ever stopped teaching me in the way that he knew how, exactly what it meant to be in production and what it meant to create something or to produce something. And to this day, I still don't really know exactly what that is, what producing something is, but I can honestly say that he sparked a curiosity in me that has since not been quenched. And it's like chess or Call of Duty for me. Once I discover that I might be good at something, hey, watch this lighting. Oh dear, it's way too much. There we go. And now I can say that once I have it in my head that I want to create a video, or that I have an idea, now I know what to do. I can set up lights so that the lighting looks better, and a microphone so that the audio sounds good, and I know how to edit, and I know how to do all those things, and I didn't know how to do that before I got that job at Machinima. And they didn't tell Sark, they certainly weren't paying him to train me. Machinima. They weren't paying him to train me. They didn't give him a raise for doing that, and he didn't have to. Like they basically told him, here's this guy, and it sounds like I'm salty with Machinima right now, but really that was kind of the only realistic way to do it. I'm gonna smoke a cigarette, guys. Liz is smoked up. No, it's all good. I'm glad this happened. I want them to see. Like, I'm gonna smoke a cigarette because, good or bad, healthy or not for you, and yes, I know that it's not healthy for me, this is what I do. This is how I live my life, and I'd rather be honest about it. So I don't think smoking is good for you, and I don't think you should smoke, and that's my disclaimer before I smoke a cigarette while I'm talking about this. But if you're a smoker, then you understand. Smoking, drinking coffee when you're talking about something stimulates, just gets my shit going, and literally in the morning gets my shit going. You like that one? That's good. So I'm not quite sure where I was before I started smoking a cigarette. But, oh yeah, so it sounds like I'm salty with Machinima, but I'm not. They really didn't have any, there was nothing else they could have done besides out of the frying pan and into the fire. Like, trial by fire. You just have to learn by getting out there and doing it. And so I landed in his lap, and he didn't really have a choice in the matter. And so to this day, I don't know if he begrudgingly took me under his wing or if he did it out of benevolence, but he did it, and he did it consistently for 2.5 years. And if I can be honest, towards the end of last year, I became very difficult to work with. Very difficult to work with. And I'll be very open and honest about it right now. I was unruly, and my ego had swollen, and I had developed quite the sense of entitlement. And all I will say about why that was it was renegotiation time with Machinima. And that was time to renew the contract. And I won't talk about the details of any contract. I won't talk about any sum, but I was getting very salty and sort of rude and mean sometimes to some people. And maybe I'm a coward for not like apologizing in person first, but to anybody that kind of fell in my wake of negativity during that time, I'm ashamed to have like spread that to other people. I don't think that makes me a bad person, and I'm not losing any sleep over it now, but I look back at that time with regret. And unfortunately, the person that I was probably the biggest dick to was the one that was looking out for me the most, which was Sark. And here I am painting the story like it's a sad story, and it's not. That was only one part of my still unfolding story with him and with that guy, and how he's influenced my life in ways that I don't think will ever understand, because I don't think he really I don't think he thinks about it all that much, maybe, because I think he's humble. And there's no real continuity to the story, because I'm not really, there's so many stories that I could tell you guys that it's really hard to think about just one, and that's like a really cliched thing to say, I guess, but I am so flooded with memories that it's difficult for me to pick the one that I think best exemplifies the kind of character that he displays. So I'm going to think about that and use a jump cut to edit through it.